I suppose it'll be good news for South Africa moving forward. Bafana Bafana have beaten Cape Verde in penalties to reach the last four of the Africa Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast.
Hi, Mzansi Real Talk peeps. Welcome back to another episode of Mzansi Current Affair. I'm your host, Nkosi, and today we're diving deep into a topic that has been buzzing lately. The journey of our beloved Bafana Bafana and the reasons behind the perceived lack of support from different racial groups, especially among the white community. But before we jump into it, if you're new here, don't forget to smash that subscribe button to show that you're not just one in a bunch of losers. Let's get started. So the other day, I stumbled upon a TikTok post where people, mainly from the black community, were discussing the apparent lack of support Bafana Bafana receives from white people and other races. It got me thinking, is there a historical context, or is it a misunderstanding? Let's delve into it.
What I saw there was not a problem of coaching, was a bunch of losers who don't have got any respect for this country, have got any respect for anybody. I saw a team that was South African in the second half, fighting to win. 2 useless goals. I mean, Nigeria was shocked. I saw their coach starting to stand up. He couldn't believe. They thought that they are going to meet the Lions, whose stadium was very filled to capacity to come and fight for their own country. But what did they come to meet? Just a bunch of unbearable, useless individuals.
History. To understand our present, we must look back at our history as a nation. South Africa has a rich and complex past, marked by apartheid and racial segregation. The effects of this history still resonate today, shaping perceptions and interactions between different racial groups. Bafana Bafana's journey intersects with this history, and it's essential to consider how it impacts support from various communities. Apartheid. From the early years of football in South Africa up until the end of the apartheid, the sport was affected by racial segregation. The dominant association was the All-White Football Association of South Africa. In 1906, the FASA team played a series of 12 friendlies in South America, winning 11 of them with a goal difference of 60-7. In 1956, South Africa was one of 4 countries, along with Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia, to establish the Confederation of African Football. However, South Africa's constitution meant that the country could only send an all-white or an all-black team to the first AFCON in 1957. The other 3 countries disagreed with this viewpoint, and as a result, South Africa was disqualified from the competition. In 1958, South Africa was officially banned from the CAF. The FASA was admitted into the FIFA the same year but was given 1 year to comply with FIFA's regulations. The association failed to do so and was formally suspended from FIFA. This suspension lasted until 1991, when the fall of the apartheid system paved the way to the foundation of a new multiracial South African Football Association. Crashing the scene. After missing out on the 1994 AFCON, the new-look South Africa was chosen as the host country of the 1996 version of the competition. In their first official match, they trumped Cameroon 3-0. A second victory against Angola led them to the knockout stage, where they defeated Algeria and Ghana on the way to the finals. In the final match, a brace by Mark Williams was enough to defeat Tunisia 2-0 and win the title at their first major competition. In 1998, Egypt stopped South Africa from repeating as champions by beating them 2-0 in the final. Later that year, the team entered its first World Cup. In their debut, however, they were unable to put up much of a resistance to hosts and eventual champions France, losing 0-3. They performed better in the other 2 matches in their group, but 2 draws against Denmark and Saudi Arabia weren't enough to qualify for the knockout stage. By 2002, South Africa was considered to be a growing power on the African continent. At the World Cup held that year, they drew 2-2 with Paraguay and defeated Slovenia 1-0 to find themselves holding the second place before the final group round. They went on to lose 2-3 to Spain in a thriller, finishing with 4 points. Meanwhile, Paraguay defeated Slovenia 3-1, giving them a favorable goal differential and knocking South Africa out of the competition. World Cup hosts. Following this relatively successful campaign, South Africa entered a period of decline. From 2002 to 2009, Bafana Bafana went through 10 head coaches, but this had no real impact on the results. In 2010, the team reached its lowest point since being remitted, failing to qualify for the AFCON. However, the 2010 World Cup, which they hosted, was an opportunity for improvement. The run-up to the tournament instilled some optimism into the team's fans, as South Africa was consistently competitive. This run of form carried to the tournament proper, as the team drew 1-1 in an exciting opener against Mexico. However, a 0-3 drubbing to Uruguay all but eliminated them from the competition. Despite a 2-1 victory against France in the final group round, Uruguay beating Mexico 1-0 meant that both South American teams would advance. In later years, South Africa continued to struggle to establish its authority. They went on to host the 2013 AFCON but were eliminated by Mali in the quarterfinals. At the 2019 AFCON, they managed to knock out the favorite Egypt in the round of 16 before losing to Nigeria in the quarterfinals. They failed to qualify for either the 2014 or 2018 World Cup. FIFA World Cup results. South Africa has participated 3 times in the World Cup, have never gone past the quarterfinals besides having only qualified automatically because it was hosting. Perception versus reality. Now, let's separate perception from reality. Are there valid reasons behind the belief that Bafana Bafana doesn't receive widespread support? Are there misunderstandings or miscommunications? We'll explore different perspectives to shed light on this matter. Based on what I have observed, Bafana Bafana does not enjoy a lot of support because they are a bunch of losers. Yes, I said it. They are a bunch of losers despite the fact that white people do not support them. Even myself, I do not watch their matches unless I need an excuse to go drink beers with the boys. For those who consistently support the rugby team, it feels as if white people expect us to rally behind the Springboks, yet they don't seem to care about the Mzansi soccer team. I, too, am guilty of this oversight. From now on, I am committed to supporting them because the team is now composed of sundowns, and we all know they are the best on the African continent. For once in a long time, we have a chance to claim our place on the international stage. Despite any differences, soccer has the power to unite us. Bafana Bafana represents our nation on the international stage, and their success or challenges are a reflection of all of us. How can we come together, regardless of race, to support our national team? That wraps up today's episode of Mzansi Current Affair. We've explored the journey of Bafana Bafana and addressed the perceptions surrounding support from different racial groups. Remember, it's essential to foster unity and celebrate our diversity as we cheer for our national team. If you enjoyed this discussion, give it a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more insightful conversations. Until next time, stay united, Mzansi.